Welcome to Inside the Firm, a podcast dedicated to small business owners and hosted by entrepreneurs, Alex Gore and Lance Cayko. Each week, they take you on their journey of how to start, run, and grow a business by bringing you inside their architecture and real estate development firm. Get a behind-the-scenes tour of how these business leaders manage their clients and foster company culture while creating new and innovative projects. And now your hosts, Alex Gore and Lance Cayko.
Welcome to another episode of Inside the Firm. I'm here with Lance, naturally handsome Cayko. I'm Al, needs some work, Gore. It is great to talk to you today. Hey, if you want to connect with us more, you should basically look at
architectsguide2.com, buildabetterco.com.
Buildabetterco.com. Excuse me for the brain farts. It's been a bunch of, there's been meetings at night, 2 out of the 3 nights and all that. So go to buildabetterco.com where you get all of our courses bundled into one and one-on-one meetings and group meetings every week. Go check it out, how to build a better business.
Check it out. You also need to go over to arcat.com. Why? Because if you can't find the product data you're looking for, you might be using the wrong search engine. Broad searches result in consumer products, out-of-date information, and websites that hide or don't have the information you're looking for. If you need specifications, CAD, or BIM, arcat.com is your search engine. Find and download the up-to-date data you need fast. arcat.com is free and requires no registration, so try Arcat today. That's arcat.com. All right, I've got some amazing potential good news I got to share with Al. I got to share with everybody, and that is this title. I just couldn't help myself. I got sucked right into this article here that was posted on October 4th by Newsweek. The title is "Housing Market to Come Back Roaring After Election." Real estate expert. So we're going to dive into this article, and this has kind of been, what we've been hoping for, I think, is this is the last big unknown. We have an Indian summer right now. I can say that because I'm an Indian. And basically it's very nice. And so therefore, like you would think, if we didn't have this uncertainty right now with the election and the economy and everything else in the Middle East and all the other crap, that houses would be flying off the market. It would be a buyer's market maybe, all that stuff. But we don't know yet. So into the article here, the housing market is likely to come, quote, roaring back, end quote, after the election, a real estate expert shared on Friday. But another expert told Newsweek the excitement may be premature.
Dude, I love that. They went with the headline and said one expert said this, one said no.
I love how they're not naming people yet either. Okay, but now they're going to start.
Yeah.
Ryan Serhant, a real estate broker known on $1 Million Listing, said buyers and sellers should expect the housing market to change after the election. Inventory is up, he says. Interest rates are at 20-month lows. People are waiting. They want to see if deals are going to come. No one wants to catch a falling knife, but also no one wants to jump into a speeding car. Wow. Sarah Hart told Fox Business Stuart Varney on Varney and Company's company of today's current market. While the current market has frustrated Americans, Sarah Hart said he's optimistic about where it's headed in 2025. Quote, I think people are waiting to see what happens in November, and that will take us into a roaring 2025, Sir Hart said. Once mortgage rates reach 5 and 4%, Sir Hart predicted more liquidity in the market. I mean, that seems pretty obvious.
Yes, right? Yes, I agree with that. But liquidity in the market, meaning more people will come into the market, which means prices go which way?
Up.
Oh.
Up. Because that's how supply and demand works for everybody who doesn't know basic economics. Elections often impact the housing market as an administration's new economic policies change a market's confidence level. Interest rates can also change as a result of those policies based on Federal Reserve decisions. Lower overall inflation levels could also inspire an improved housing market as more Americans become able to afford a house. Still, not all finance experts agree that 2025 will be as strong as Sarah is anticipating, especially as interest rates linger at 6.65% for a 30-year mortgage. I agree. I think 5% is like there's something about that number.
Yes.
Excuse me.
I actually think that that's healthy for the economy as well, because when the interest rates from the Fed are too low, people are just spending money on nonsense. When there's a 3% interest rate with a 2% write up on it from the banks, you're at about 5%. People have to be very smart about their money. And what that means when you're smart is that it has to be something that's efficient and productive, not just playing money games on the stock market where only rich people win, because that was what was happening when it was so low. So this way, it has to be, I'm not just going to play funny
do you think
games.
it keeps people more honest? Is that sort of the summation? Okay.
Exactly. So,
article goes on to say this is now from the Contrarian here, quote, 2025 is poised to be a good year for the housing market, but I think it's premature to say it will start as strong as some are expecting, end quote. Alex Bean, a financial literacy instructor for University of Tennessee at Martin, told Newsweek. While interest rates are starting to decline, they're significantly higher than they were a few years ago, and that equates to higher monthly payments that will keep some buyers from diving in. And he goes on to say, with the median U.S. home list price roughly at, get this, Al, $432,000, according to Redfin, housing prices are still at historic highs in many cities across the country. What's wild about that number? I mean, that number is just crazy, right? Like, my girlfriend is selling her house right now for $230,000 in Moorhead.
okay.
Little salt box,
Yep.
2-bedroom, 1 bath, classic, like post-World War II house. The houses, the townhomes that we built a couple years ago, 5 years ago now, sold under $350,000 each, and now they appraise for like over $500K. It's just wild what happens when you print that much money.
Yes.
Just kidding. We all know what happens. As much as
some of us,
the article goes on, as much as some of us may want to buy, it's not financially feasible, even if you can't cover the down payment. Bean says next year should be a stronger year than this one for housing sales, but there's still some headwinds on the market we'll have to face before surging ahead. For most Americans, their incomes haven't grown high enough to match the typical cost of a home for sale in 2024, which is true. And the last part here is long-term, people just can't keep spending more of their income on a housing payment. Danielle Hale, chief economist at Realtor.com, previously told Newsweek, it's going to crowd out everything else in their budget. So, I don't know. I think it's probably, maybe Q1 of next year is just we're looking up. But, man, I feel like once that warm weather hits in the spring, we're going to have a nice big push forward. So, that's what I'm hoping for anyway.
Segue. Next article.
Okay.
Me. No landing chatter returns as market questions inflation defeat.
But is that this one? Hang on here. Let me pull it up. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, yep. Gotcha.
What I love about this is that even me and you, we talked about a soft landing or a hard landing. A hard landing in a economy is where the plane hits so hard that basically a recession happens, which fundamentally means people are laid off. That's the big ramification. Of course, I think we're trading laid offs for inflation, but I love this idea of no landing whatsoever. So while the Federal Reserve's cut short-term rates by greater than 50 expected basis points in September, some concerns were raised that the Fed might see risks the public could not. So last Friday's job reports beat expectations on headline payroll numbers by over 100,000. We actually covered that, I believe.
We did.
Yep. Putting the specter of reinflation and tightening policy back in the investor's mind. The other thing that came out is...
Next article?
Yep. CPI bolsters hawkish view that the Fed rates cuts needs to be gradual.
Ooh.
So the inflation, this is what's weird. It came in at 2.4.
Oh, that was this morning. Oh, my goodness.
Yep.
Breaking news.
It came in at 2.4, and they said it's slightly higher because... wait. Increased to... Yeah.
It's higher than it was expected, increasing
by like a point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Still, come on. We're in good... This is...
No. I think they should lower a quarter point this year. I think next year, early in the years, they should lower a quarter, and by May, they should do another quarter point. So that's 0.75.
And then we should just pause.
Yep, and
get us below 5.
What I think
or below 6.
is because they took a while to actually do this reduction. They might just be flirting with these because what happened back in I want to say the 80s, but was they lowered interest rates and the inflation shot back up again, really, really high. So they don't want to do that. So I think that they will be slower than what people think.
Sure.
And my idea of a hard landing, a no landing is they do that maybe a little bit slower than even I expect. Housing prices never come down. Food prices never come down. Like for the next 3-5 years. Like, I think that's probably the
Housing
scenario.
prices did go down just a little bit though. The last couple of years they had to.
Overall they did.
But I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Like, this isn't even controversial to say once I say it. Prices will never be cheaper than what they are right now.
Why don't people understand that though?
I understand in housing, you don't want to pay a high interest rate on that housing thing, and you might be trading that off. But, okay, gas will always fluctuate. Gas will probably go down. And I know that gas then trickles through the whole economy. And this is what's so funny. Like, grocery bills pre-pandemic are basically double. They are. They can do all their data and all that stuff. I know my wife pays the bill all the time. She tells me all the time. We know how much groceries we got. Same kids. Same
kids.
Yep. All that
Not
stuff.
even that good of eaters, one of them.
Oh, terrible.
Terrible. The other one, whatever. He's good.
Exactly. So I think setting yourself up and being pleasantly surprised if anything goes better than a no landing is maybe a good way to operate. Because then you can set your future sights on how to essentially tackle this economy, how to future plan, save more than you think. And then if things do happen, you'll be prepared to take that risk, to buy that house, to do whatever you can. But to expect, interest rates to shoot down and housing prices to shoot down, it's not going to happen. So you're going to be continually disappointed, as if you're a prisoner of war thinking you're going to be released every Christmas and you never are, rather than saying, hey, no landing. If that does happen, I'll be super happy. Take advantage of it.
Yeah. Did we miss your third article, though?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I've got it up now.
Okay. Housing inflation eased in September in sharp reversal from previous months. So what this is talking about, if you look at the big graph, it says shelter costs remain stubbornly sticky.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about this is that
shoot, what a spike.
This isn't just a factor only of Fed policy.
Wait a minute. So 8.2%. What is this percentage of year over year? Oh, okay, got it.
Yep,
sure.
year over year. So it's now keeping up inflation high because it's at 4.9 shelter inflation, which means it takes into consideration your housing costs or if you're renting costs, right? Mm-hmm. What's great about when you can lock into a house is that you know that it's going to be steady for in the future. Where renting costs can always, every year, they can adjust and take advantage of, and they're going to, right? Take advantage as much as they can.
Yeah.
The thing that, so is that, of course, the money supply does affect this, but the other side of the equation is the supply of actual housing, and that is basically a local thing.
Yeah.
It's basically a local thing of what you can do.
Yeah. Well, last little segment here is I got a question for Al. I'm actually going to stop screen recording and then pull up this wonderful question I have for Al. Al, you started a couple businesses in your life.
I have multiple. Yeah.
There's somebody out there who thinks you couldn't start a business for less than $5,000.
Watch me.
And Al, this comes on high authority.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm about to show you.
Oh, do we got something?
Yeah, you might hear from this person a lot in the next 4 years. You might.
Nobody can start a small business with $5,000.
No one can start a new small business with $5,000.
Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000.
Wow. Okay, so let's do some math because I actually happen to be the owner of a plumbing company. Between the time I was an apprentice and the time I was a journeyman, I was able to accumulate tools with my own money. These tools helped me to be productive at my job. I also owned a pickup truck, so that was for starters. With my accumulated knowledge and tools, I decided I was ready to start a business, so I submitted a $40 application fee to take my master plumbing exam. After passing the master exam, I submitted a $225 application fee for my contractor's license. When I came up with a name for my company, I paid a $25 fee to Dallas County for a DBA. I then paid a $300 filing fee to register my company as an LLC in the state of Texas. My general liability was $1,200, and of course my business cards were $50. This amounts to $1,840. Well under the $5,000 that Kamala Harris says is not enough to start a small business. Business came quickly, not by a bunch of marketing, but simply by word of mouth. I was able to hand out some business cards at church, and it got to the point where I was able to hire employees and go on from there, using the money that the company was making to scale. Sure, we've had ebbs and flows, seasons where the company was doing great and seasons where the company was not doing so great. But when you start a business with your own money or take out a loan that you are on the hook for if you default, then there's more of an incentive to ensure that the business succeeds and less of a chance of defrauding the taxpayer with programs that Kamala Harris is trying to implement. It just baffles me that many of you are literally about to cast your vote for a woman who doesn't know anything about starting a business or running a business to have influence over the economy.
Al, your take.
We started a business with less than that. That is actually, I would say, a more expensive way to start it. He's starting something in construction that needs insurance and these other things. So, like, you can start it for way, way, way less than that.
Yeah.
Way, way, way less.
Yeah,
than
his
that.
liability is
Yep.
a reflection of the amount of
Responsibility.
financial responsibility he has right away. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know, is this coming? Is there a program where Kamala Harris is proposing to give people $5,000 or more to start a business?
Okay, we're gonna literally look it up because
And
I don't know.
While you look it up, I'll talk about this because I will tell you one of the policies for gaining votes from Kamala Harris, and this is going to be as fact-based as possible, is to give college to pay back people's college loans. Basically paying for votes.
Yep.
To then pay people $25,000 for first home buyers, paying for votes. And then probably give people $5,000 to start a business and whatever, again, paying for votes. And what none of this takes into effect is that printing money just increases inflation. And like we've harped about many, many times, is that you can't have everything and also be cheap at the same time. You can't print all this money and give all this money out and also balance the budget. You can't do all this and not expect inflation to rise. So not only is it not knowing how a small business works, you literally do not know how government works because all your programs are just buying votes.
Yeah.
At least the ones I talked about.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna pull up. You're not gonna see this on the YouTube. I'm actually gonna have ChatGPT summarize this. Summarize this. So she does have a program. Yeah.
Okay.
So summarize this article. Okay. So the title was from Forbes. Kamala Harris focus on small business, her job creator plan, and ChatGPT is summarizing it for us. Go, Al.
Can we just go to the top line item, tax deductions, expanding the go back to your chat.
Oh,
GPT.
sorry. Okay,
yep, it
yeah.
nailed it for us. From the startup expenses of $5,000, which is what?
Okay, but sorry. This is the summary. Key components of the plan include, and then out tax deductions. Yeah.
Yep. So to increase startup expenses from $5,000 to $50,000. So you get to deduct all that, thus less money going into the government, which I generally like because the government.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. But this declaration that it costs, you can't do it. This is the bullshit that I'm tired of from, honestly, both parties in the sense that they just like this fear mongering and like pushing people towards embracing victimhood, consciousness and just like wanting to be victims. When the reality is like it's like Al was saying about money. This has been this is what I'm done being frustrated with my dad about it. Where growing up, he would be like. We go school shopping. $20 for pants next year. $30 for pants, and it was like finally when I became an adult, I looked up like why is everything more expensive every single year? Oh, no, we're not on sound money since Nixon took us off. This is how inflation works because we're on a fiat currency. So what is the Stoic approach? The Stoic approach is it's going to cost more every single year. Oh, so you just got to keep making more money. Like you just have no choice, but like you're in this. So it's just, so back to like the complaint against this is like, yeah, it costs money to start a business. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Like you're gonna have to put in some money, and then you have to decide: is your business a low liability business and a low startup business where I can put in less than $1,000 and get it going, or am I starting a general contracting firm and I instantly need big pieces of insurance and stuff like that to do that?
I wouldn't say, going back to my critique, that this is buying votes like the handouts of the other ones. I would want to focus on reducing the government. So if somehow they can do that, that would be awesome. I just doubt that that's ever going to happen. The one thing I would say, though, is that I would watch it like, okay, if we're doing a deduction off of your taxes, that means you have to owe that amount, right? Mm-hmm. To be able to pay it. So like to get into that upper amount, you probably have to have an upper amount of income that you're paying to the federal government to deduct from there. And then two, man, you might want to be encouraged to be lean.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, and people ask me all the time when I do these and I guest on other people's podcasts, you know, if you could give advice to anybody who wants to start a business or just advice at all, what would it be? And it's usually one or two things. It's either start now, just now, just like tomorrow, like right now, or start your business in a Great Recession or a Great Depression, because you'll never be under more pressure in every single way. Therefore, you'll never be more creative. You'll never have to be more lean. It's a perfect time to start it. Like, yeah, you're not going to crush right away, but that's the point. If you figure out how to crush during those down times, then you're going to be able to really crush during the up times, and it's just a win-win-win. So anyway, that's all we got. If you like this episode, you're watching on YouTube, leave us a positive comment, like, subscribe there. If you're listening on the iTunes 5-star reviews, send us fan mail. We'll see you next.